Hello and welcome. Today, I want to share a story, The Bicycle and the Cougar, a story of courage that is both terrifying and inspiring. It's a true account of friendship, instinct, and the raw courage that emerges when everything goes wrong. This is a story about 5 women, a routine bicycle ride, and an encounter with one of nature's most powerful predators. It was a cold February morning in the Pacific Northwest. The light was flat and wintry, casting long shadows through a forest of pale, leafless trees. On a gravel road weaving through these woods, 5 friends were on their weekly bicycle ride. These were not casual cyclists. They were seasoned athletes, part of a team called Recycled Cycles Racing. Their idea of a relaxing Saturday was a 35-mile loop through the foothills of the Cascade Mountains, a route they fondly called the Magic Carpet Ride. In the lead were Erica, an attorney, and Tish, a salesperson. Behind them, riding alone, was Carrie, a health insurance advocate. And about 200 yards back, bringing up the rear, were Aune, a real estate agent, and Annie, a retired gardener. They were chatting, enjoying the crisp air, completely unaware that in a few moments their world would shatter. Aune and Annie had a clear view of their friends up ahead. Suddenly, they saw 2 tawny animals emerge from the sparse woods. Their minds raced. Coyotes? Bobcats? Now, the realization was chilling. They were cougars.
The first cat darted across the road and vanished into the forest. The second one paused, its eyes locked onto the movement of Carrie's bicycle. In a microsecond, its instinct shifted. It wasn't fleeing, it was hunting. It sprang. A blur of muscle and fur launched onto Carrie's back, pulling her from her bike with terrifying force. She was dragged like a rag doll into a ditch beside the road. Aune screamed. Annie yelled, "No!" The sound ripped through the quiet forest. Up ahead, Erica and Tish spun around just in time to see their friend disappearing. In that moment, a primal fear seized them. Every survival instinct screamed at them to flee, to put as much distance as possible between themselves and this apex predator. But they didn't. They pushed down their terror, their bodies trembling with adrenaline, and did the unthinkable. They rushed toward the danger to save their friend. When the cat attacked, Carrie saw a fleeting close-up glimpse of its face. Then she was on the ground, fighting for her life. The cougar's teeth sank into her jawbone with immense pressure. She could feel the bones grinding. Her mind was clear, yet frantic. "It's going to go for my throat," she thought, and she threw her arm across her neck to protect it. With her other hand, she tried to gouge its eyes, but it was like poking tough leather. She shoved her fingers up its nostrils. The animal didn't even flinch. It held on with relentless, brutal strength. Aune was the first to reach them. She lifted her bicycle, making herself look bigger, and shrieked at the cat. It ignored her completely. She saw the cougar's hind legs, its claws as long as her little fingers, pressing into Carrie's legs. Knowing she had to stop it from shredding her friend, Aune moved behind the cougar, grabbed its hind leg and its tail, and yanked with all her might. The jaws, however, remained locked.
Annie was right behind her. She heard Carrie grunt, "Get it off me," and immediately went for the animal's throat, trying to choke it. But its neck muscles were like a tree trunk. She began stomping on its stomach. Nothing worked. "Grab his front legs, Annie," Aune yelled. Annie seized a foreleg. "You're not getting this back," she muttered through gritted teeth. By now, Erica and Tish had joined the fray. The scene was one of controlled chaos. Tish, a former top runner, found a rock the size of a small watermelon. She hoisted it over her head and slammed it onto the cougar's ribcage. Again and again she did this, exhausting herself, but the cat's grip did not loosen. "Erica," Annie said, "in my bag is a multi-tool with a knife." Erica found the tool. It had a tiny 2-inch serrated blade. She began stabbing at the cougar's ribs and lower abdomen. Tish, now using a stout stick, beat the animal in the same spot. For 15 agonizing minutes, the women fought. They grappled, bashed, stabbed, and clubbed the cougar, and for 15 minutes it held Carrie just as tightly as the moment it first attacked. Carrie, bloody and torn, never stopped fighting, jabbing her fingers into the animal's face while protecting her throat. Annie grabbed the rock. "I'm going to hit it over the head," she told Carrie. "I'm sorry if I hit you." "Just kill it," Carrie gurgled through the blood. The rock slammed down. The cougar acted as if nothing had happened. A new fear began to dawn on them. If the cougar let go, it would turn on one of them. They needed a plan. "We have to grab this bike," Tish said. "If this thing gets up, we can put the bike on top of it." Then suddenly, the cat relaxed its jaws. "Go, Carrie, go!" Annie yelled. Carrie rolled away, her face a mask of blood. Her friends immediately laid a bicycle across the cougar's body. "Get on! Get on!" All four women found a place to stand on the bike's frame and wheels, using their combined weight, nearly 450 pounds, to pin the struggling animal to the ground. Carrie, amazed to be alive, staggered to her feet in the middle of the roadway. The 911 dispatcher was still on the line. Aune, with the phone to her ear, finally managed to give their GPS coordinates. Help was on the way, but when would it arrive? What they saw next felt like a miracle. Two more of their teammates, Daniel and Elise, were pedaling up the trail. It took them a moment to process the surreal scene. Their friends standing on a bicycle, pinning down a live cougar, and Carrie lying bloody in the road. Without hesitation, they rushed to help. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, an officer from the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife arrived. His first task was clear. He asked the man to step off the bike, told the women to hold their position, and with a single, muffled shot, ended the threat. The nightmare was over. Later, officials would determine the cougar was a male, just 8 months old. Technically a kitten, but one that weighed 75 pounds. It was young, inexperienced, and likely orphaned. Its attack was not the calculated move of a seasoned predator, but the desperate, clumsy act of a juvenile that didn't know any better. The women, of course, deeply regretted that the animal had to be killed, but on that day, in that ditch, they faced an impossible choice, and they chose each other. They chose courage over flight and action over despair. They proved that the most powerful force in the world is not the strength of a predator, but the fierce, unbreakable bond of friendship. And so we reach the end of our story. A story that reminds us of the unpredictable power of nature and the even greater power of the human spirit. When faced with an unimaginable crisis, these 5 women showed us that true courage isn't the absence of fear, but the decision to act in spite of it. Their bond, their quick thinking, and their refusal to abandon a friend turned a potential tragedy into a testament of survival. Don't forget to read our explanations for some expressions used along the story to improve much more your vocabulary power. Thank you for listening to this incredible account. Remember, the stories we share here are not just to improve your English, but to inspire reflection on strength, friendship, and resilience. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and carry a little of their courage with you. Goodbye.